want the fan off. I don't like that. Damn thing keeps trying to turn the fan on. We have fucking adhesion problems. I think 90% of the problem that I have with this is Cura and trying to get the software to behave correctly. It's like it really doesn't want to save the parameters that I save, and like makes you create some kind of weird extra profile that doesn't have anything to do with the main printer profile. So then you go back in again later on, and all of a sudden all your settings are changed. But I want to try a higher bed temperature and no fan on the first layer. And I swear that I had it set for no fan on first layer, but for some reason it looks like it's turned itself back on. And then sometimes I think it really just doesn't care. It turns on anyway because the printer doesn't understand what it's sending to it. But we'll go over here and look. We'll see, because I just sliced it. This laptop is super slow, which is also making it easy for things to happen where I can't see what's going on. I'm actually printing at 250 because I've found that the printer seems to be capable of it. Most of the time it's not going to run at that speed anyways. Okay, quality. I've got this on the expert mode, which means you have to look through a lot of stuff. Cooling. Okay. 100, 100, and let's see. Regular fan speed at second layer. Initial fan speed 0. So, as far as I understand, it's not supposed to be on. Oh, regular fan speed at height is so. Right here would be. We'd have to change that, I think. Otherwise, it's going to come on, because 0.2 is the initial layer. And if it prints a brim, then all of a sudden it comes on. I'm just going to go 0.6 and save the changes, and we'll just see. I have to constantly like go in here and test things and see. So you can see I got this thing set to 250, but it's obviously not printing anywhere remotely near that. And then I'm 100% on the printer. What's nice about this printer is if you're not going to print PLA, I don't really think you need to worry about the insufficient cooling problem that everybody complains about. So I believe what causes the curling and separation is the temperature of the filament rapidly changing. So what I'm trying is less cooling, hotter bed, lower filament temperature. And so what it looks like to me is so far I don't see an issue. So I'm printing this at 225. Also, I think these ones here, I think that they're mixed. I don't think they're pure. I think there's PLA in them because I can smell it. So, and then definitely this brand here, they're, I think on their website they said they use recycled filament, and I honestly don't believe it's all PETG. I think there's other stuff in it because it has a really low temperature. Like, I've bought other stuff that comes on the plastic reel from that C3D place or whatever, and I have to run it a lot higher. This stuff, you need to turn it down very, very low or you have lots of stringing. Anyway, like I was showing you guys earlier, I put these markers here. I homed the printer. It hasn't changed at all. I printed the, I can get it off of here, the tool holder right here. It's kind of a cheesy little one. I need to design my own. I want one that clips here that goes long. Anyway, I can get it off of here. It came out fine, but there was a little bit of funny lifting on it. So it happens like at nighttime. I really just don't want to put this thing in an enclosure. But I guess for $50 you can buy a U-Pie or whatever branded enclosure. I noticed that they seem to be different sizes. This one quite possibly could fit in that other enclosure if it's because it's so short in the front. But I think the bed travel is just too far. I think it's too far, but we can definitely check it out. But I was going to put this in the other enclosure. So yeah, it doesn't look like 250 millimeters per second. This is it's just a Allen wrench tool holder, and I'm just printing it just to test it out and see how it does. So it's just this. Things like this will be a challenge on this printer. So this is kind of an experimental type of deal for me, because I don't know if the guy did anything weird to this printer, and this one's a little bit different than what I'm used to. So the sensorless homing and things like that. But I think once you have the Z-axis or the X completely even on both sides, I think once you have that ironed out, I think it won't change. But they don't really discuss that in the manual. It's just supposed to send it all the way up to the top and somehow magically make it perfect. And I've tried it several times and it's always off. So another thing too is, like, I noticed that right here, this is up higher than these blocks here. And when you send this up to the top, it hits here. And the only way that it won't, I think, is if you have it right here where there's a dip. But it comes all the way up to the top. And there's no stops right here. Maybe there's supposed to be. But this doesn't clear this. It hits here first. So, and if you look here, there's a lip that dips in. And what I found was my print head was over here when it went all the way to the top, and it hit on here instead of here and there. So of course it was wrong. So it's just easier just to home it. Use these things, set them up on both sides, and just turn off the steppers and adjust it till it's perfect. And then after you've done that, put your markers on here and you'll know if it changes. And so far, that's worked pretty good for me. The rails are definitely noisier. I honestly think they look cool, but I don't think that it's a realistic design. I think that the palm wheels are absolutely just fine. I don't think there's anything wrong with them. And they dampen, and they make less noise. They're less likely to produce artifacts, I think. Many people have discussed that. But these are just they're kind of noisy. And they're not too bad. I've used some silicone spray. I'm not going to take this thing apart and lube it. Just spray it down in here. So, yeah, I don't really think there's anything wrong with getting something with palm wheels. I think the sv07 would be the better printer to get. The sv07 Plus would be the one to get. It's still kind of expensive though, but I don't know. I don't really like having small printers because there's been just a few things I wanted to print where I couldn't print them, and so it's nice to have something that, you know, is pretty much full size. So you can always print smaller. And this one seems to be, you know, not super slow, not super fast. Now, I don't know what other parts of the settings need to be changed to make it print faster, because if it's set at 250, it sure doesn't look like it to me. Let's see. So it says it's 42% done. It's been printing for, I think the bottom one, yeah, we're looking at an hourglass. So the bottom one is 13 minutes and the top one is 18 minutes left. I guess that's their idea. So, where speed would be, that's the acceleration. I think that's what's getting us 250 wall speed. Plus, also, it's not printing infill. I don't think. We're at 20% infill. Wall speed is 100. Outer wall speed 90. We're probably printing at 100 or 90. But because this printer doesn't show you anything, you don't know. Travel speed 333.33333. Initial layer speed 100. And that actually looked pretty fast when it was doing the initial layer. When it printed the brim at 100, it looked fast. Print acceleration 1000. Info acceleration. So I'm not really sure, but I mean it's working. I'd like to see it print faster. A lot of it is I still am learning, so I don't really know the real difference between the acceleration, travel speed, print speed, and then like outer wall speed and infill speed. You know, when I first got started, I thought the speed was just the speed. You know, it was the same no matter what. I didn't realize there was multiple settings for all sorts of different things. And then I noticed some printers were advertising a certain speed, but they were actually advertising travel speed. So anyway. So I'm gonna guess it's probably just printing at 100. That's what it looks like.